After being pushed back a week for mysterious reasons, we now have access to the Northlands books from Kobold Press on D&D Beyond, and I'm pretty excited about the whole thing because I'm very easily excited. That's not really a selling point, because I like new stuff to look at. I have ADHD, this is just a thing, so here we are. Today we are going to go through the species options and the subclasses, although not in that order. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me, it means just a huge amount. And if you enjoy this and want to support this, like and subscribe. I did it at the beginning instead of the end. So clever, so revolutionary. Anyway, let's talk about some subclasses, shall we? Before we go directly into it, I do just want to give a quick look at one of the books. This is the Worldbook. You also have the Sagas, which is a 1 to 12 adventure for 2024 rules, which I think might be one of the first ones we've had on D&D Beyond, even if it isn't first party, which is something. It's got a bunch of extra rules that you can use, which is pretty cool, including for fighting, which is, I think, like poet fighting. Beat poetry? Beats poetry. Poetry beats? One of those. Also weathers and things like that. Got a bunch of creatures that you've got access to, lots of magic items and spells, and they actually work on desktop, but if you're using this on the mobile version of the webpage, you might not be able to see the spells and magic items, or at least I could not. Anyway, I have had a look ahead at some of these, and I do appreciate the fact that they're not too wordy, which makes a nice change of pace. So we've got a few to get through, so let's start with the Path of the Titan Barbarian. There's no denying the might of Jotunheim. Even the smallest of giants exemplifies the sheer physical power passed down from Orgelmir, the first giant. I'm going to do my best here. I cannot promise my pronunciation is going to be anywhere near where it should be, and I do apologise if I'm way off. Barbarians who follow the path of the Titan channel the spirits of the Jotun through their rage. These otherworldly furies swell the barbarian's physical form to one that matches the power and might of their rage, causing them to tower over their foes. This may feel familiar. Level 3 gets you Rage of the Giants. Your rage taps into the primal power of giants. When you activate your rage, if you are smaller than large, you can choose to become large. Your equipment grows to match your new size. If there's not enough room for you to become large, you do not grow. While large, you get double carrying capacity, you have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws, and your attacks with weapons or unarmed strikes deal 1 additional die of damage. So a greatsword will do 3d6 instead of 2d6. A great axe will do 2d12 instead of 1d12. This is interesting immediately, because while we do obviously have the Path of the Giant Barbarian anyway, but that's more about elemental damage. This is just about raw damage, and it is specifically better if you are using it with a larger damage die, which is unusual. More often than not, you're better off going for 2d6 over 1d12, because 2d6 the average is 7, 1d12 the average is 6.5. That's just how maths works, and obviously the variances are slightly lower. However, 3d6 the average is going to be 10.5, whereas 2d12 the average is 13, which is a pretty notable upgrade, which means that you are better off trying to use larger weapons with bigger die, and I really like that as a general concept. This is also just pure damage upgrade, and that's obviously good. Level 6, you get Crushing Steps. As part of your movement, you can move through the space of any creature with a size smaller than yours. An enemy whose space you move through must succeed on a strength saving throw, which is DC 8 plus your strength plus your proficiency bonus, or have the prone condition and lose the ability to take reactions until the start of its next turn. This lets you just run around crushing things. It doesn't actually say anything about the creature only doing this once per turn either, so you could just trample a creature until it falls prone, which is very funny. I don't know that that's the intention, but it is funny. And if you took something like the Quick Step from the Book of Events, you would have 50 feet of walking speed and then get large. It's just funny, right? Level 10, you get Titanic Strikes. When you use the Brutal Strike feature, the distance the target is pushed back by your forceful blow is doubled, and the speed of a target struck by your hamstring blow is reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn. It's a control buff, basically, which isn't a bad thing. It's not especially exciting in my opinion. And then level 14 is Rage of the Titans. Whenever you activate your rage, you become huge if you're not already huge. Your equipment grows, blah, 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 blah. Same stuff. Before, while you are huge, your carrying capacity is tripled. Your reach increases by 5 feet, which is cool. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws, and your weapons deal 2 additional die. It means 4d6 instead of 2d6 and 3d12 instead of 1d12, which is yet another massive upgrade for the d12 crew. I like the simplicity of this class. It is a nice little power boost for the barbarian. You are flat out doing more damage. Level 15, assuming you're using a great axe, you're going to be doing an extra 13 points of damage each hit if you're hitting 3 times because you've gone for Great Weapon Master or something, or you're using... Does the great axe have cleave? I think it does, right? You could potentially be doing a lot of extra damage. Now I really want to build a cleave big old barbarian boy. I might do that. I don't love the level 10 feature, but that's fine. I really like the other 3. I think they're all quite solid, even though the level 14 feature is just a buff to the level 3 one. It would have been interesting to see something else here as well, or something else instead of this, but I like it. Over-designed does not mean better. For the bard, we have the Skald. Northland's bards have passed down skaldic traditions through the ages at their bardic colleges. They use these traditions to entertain in the feast halls during the long, dark winters, to lift up the great leaders and to tear down despots, and to direct the timbers of the northern kin in productive directions. Skalds are battle trained to travel with warrior bands and adventuring groups, and their skills with weapons and words keep them safe while they write the stories of their exploits, sing drinking songs in mead halls, and recite poems of legendary heroes on raider longships. At level 3, you get Poetic Provocation. You get the Vicious Mockery cantrip, always prepared. If you already know it, you can choose a different one instead. And any creature that fails against your Vicious Mockery, any creature that fails at save against your Vicious Mockery, gets disadvantage on the next Wisdom, Intelligence, or Charisma saving throw that it makes before the end of your next turn, in addition to the normal effects, which is pretty cool. If you have ways to use Vicious Mockery alongside something else that's cool, or if you know for a fact that you can queue up a friend. There's an argument here for multi-classing this with Sorcerer, so you can do Vicious Mockery as a bonus action, but that's up to you. Along with that, you get Flighting Master. You can use performance checks in place of intimidation or persuasion checks to antagonize a creature into a fight, threaten a creature to avoid a confrontation, rile or soothe the attitude of a mob, or any other situation in where your skill in weaving a story or applying a cutting insult would sway an opinion. You can pretty much always argue for that, so you can basically just max out your performance and ignore the other ones, which is not bad. You also get Martial Training at level 3. It gives you proficiency with medium armor and shields, and you can use a simple martial weapon as your spell casting focus to cast spells from the Bard spell list. In addition, you get to use the mastery properties of one simple martial weapon of your choice, and you can change this every long rest, which is super cool. At level 6, you get Bragi's Rune of Speech. As a bonus action, you can expend a bardic to cause one of the following effects. You can force creatures to make a wisdom saving throw to give them disadvantage on attack rolls against you for a minute. You can add the result of the bardic die to the first charisma check or saving throw you make in the next hour, or you and 3 allies gain temp health equal to the roll of the die. You can only do one of these effects at a time, and if you do another one, it replaces the current one. It's not bad. I will say, given the martial training thing, it's a little bit of a shame not to see the ability to maybe expend a bardic to do a bonus attack or something and add the bardic to the damage, but we can't have everything. At level 14, we get Battle Sagas. We've learned to channel the power from the epic poems of heroes, monsters, and gods ingrained into the hearts and minds of the Northlanders. You can spend 1 minute reciting selected passages from the Eddas, and when you do so, each creature of your choice other than you within 60 feet can gain several benefits for 1 hour. It gives them resistance to poison damage, immunity to fright and poison conditions, an increase of hit points by 2d10, and also gains those same hit points too. And once per turn, when the creature makes an attack roll or saving throw, it can add 1d4 to the roll or save. During the hour, you gain the following benefit. When an ally you can see who's under the effect of your battle sagas fails a saving throw, attack roll, or ability check, you can use a reaction to expend a use of your bardic inspiration. The ally can roll your bardic inspiration die and add it to the failed result, possibly making it a success. You can only use this feature once per short or long rest. While that is effectively what Bardic Inspiration does anyway, with the part that you can do at the end there, it allows you to give them out at reaction speed instead of as a bonus action speed, which can be beneficial. I think from a flavor standpoint, this is a really strong class. I think from a mechanics standpoint, it's a little bit muddled. So you've got Vicious Mockery and all of the talking up stuff at level 3, which I like, but also arguably better martial training than the Valabard, because you also get weapon mastery. It's absurd that the Valabard doesn't. And then at level 6, you get the ability to bolster your allies and potentially scorn your foes, which again ties into the speaking thing, right? And at level 14, you can tell stories to buff everyone as well. And that's all cool, but then it just sort of feels like the martial training one is, I mean, I guess it's mostly there for defense, which isn't bad, but just an extra attack on this subclass would have felt amazing. So yeah, I'm a bit mixed on that one. For clerics, we have the Nornbound. The Nornbound clerics pays homage to the Norns, and in return is granted the ability to see and manipulate the threads of mortals' fates. This power, seen as tampering to some, can help or hinder the outcome of actions taken by the cleric's targets. While Nornbound offer prayers to other gods, the Norns are the guiding light to whom they have pledged their service. You get domain spells. You get Augury, Bane, Bless, Warding Bond, Bestow, Curse, and Counterspell. Counterspell is pretty tasty. Death Ward, Divination, Commune, and Modify Memory. And you also get to tailor the scheme. I feel like it's meant to be, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, I guess. Sorry again. You can see the threads of the celestial thing that I can't pronounce and can manipulate them in service to your faith. When you finish a long rest, roll a d6 twice and record the numbers rolled. Okay, I'm going to speed through that because there's too many words, despite what I said at the beginning. As a reaction, after learning the result of an attack, damage roll, or saving throw, you can expend one of these to either add it or remove it to the saving throw, attack, or other thing, which is cool. The die also gets larger at different levels. At level 11, it becomes a d10. Level 15, it becomes a d12. So it's very divination wizard coded, which is cool. Imagine multi-classing this with a divination wizard. That would be fun. That would be fun. So many stats, though. Oof. I like it. You can use each die once per long rest, and you get them all back on a long rest, so not terrible. Level 3, you also get plucking at threads. As a bonus action, you present your holy symbol and expend a use of your channel divinity to alter the weaves of fate around you. Allies within 30 feet of you have advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of your next turn. That's pretty wild. It really is, because if you've got a team which can go Nova, which you probably do, being able to give everyone a better chance to hit, substantially better chance to hit, is very strong. So yeah, heck of a thing to be able to do. And it's a bonus action, which is lovely. Level 6, we get Intertwined Fate. As a magic action, you expend a spell slot, twisting and altering the life threads of 2 creatures you can see within 30 feet of you. You choose one as the primary and one as the secondary. The primary one has to make a con save and takes 1d8 force damage for each level of spell slot you expend, or half as much on a success, and the creature can willingly fail the saving throw if you're trying to give health to someone else. And the secondary creature receives hit points equal to the damage taken by the first target, either regaining hit points, which is cool, or gaining it as temp health if they're not injured, or presumably just topping up the temp health if it's halfway. In level 17, you get Skyweaver Friend. So would it be Skin Friend? This is breaking my skin. Skinweaver? Let's try that. When you use Plucking at Threads feature, enemies within 30 feet of you must make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. An enemy that fails the save has disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws for a minute. It can make the saving throw at the end of each of its turns to end the effect. An enemy that succeeds on it is immune to this feature for 24 hours. It's pretty cool that you can bolster your allies and also de-bolster your enemies all at once. So a big fan. This subclass knows what it's doing. The level 3 tailoring feature is undoubtedly very strong, and the fact that it levels up as you do is glorious. I love scaling features so much, they speak to my soul. I think this is a cool subclass. Next we have the Circle of Fenris. The bitter Northlands hold many dark groups and secrets, and one of the most dangerous is the Circle of Fenris, a circle of druids who venerate the Great Wolf. Inspired by the strength and tenacity of Fenris, these druids feel a kinship to the wolf through their ties to the natural world. Despite their unsavoury reputation in the north, not all Circle of Fenris druids are savage killers or nihilists, seeking to end nihilists? I can't speak at all today. To end the world. Some merely resent so-called progress, while others throw off the trappings of civilization to embrace the single-mindedness of a predator. Regardless, Circle of Fenris druids are known for their untamed nature and unbridled enthusiasm for the hunt. At level 3, you get Mantle of the Wolf. As an action, you can expend a single use of your wild shape to cause an ephemeral wolf's head blazing with primal power to appear above your own head for 10 minutes. It earns early if you dismiss it, manifest again, or have the incapacitated condition. While this mantle surrounds your body, you are filled with fierce primordial rage. You gain a bonus to your strength checks, athletic checks, and strength saving throws equal to your wisdom modifier, which is something. And additionally, you can replace one of your melee attacks with a special bite attack using the spectral head. The bite uses your wisdom modifier instead of your strength for the attack rolls, and it does 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier force damage on a successful hit. Cool. It's fine. Strength saves aren't especially common in D&D. Maybe they are in this book. I haven't looked at all the spells yet, or all the monsters, so maybe they are in this setting, in which case I'm happy to be corrected. But generally speaking, it's not the most common kind of save, and while it's nice to bolster them, it's not especially strong, and realistically 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier as force damage isn't that much better than Shillelagh at this level. I don't think it might actually be literally no better than Shillelagh at this level, so it's fine. You get Circle of Fenris spells at level 3 as well. Beast Sense, Enhance Ability, Ensnaring Strike, Hunter's Mark, Conjure Animals of Fear, Dominate Beast, and Commune with Nature. I do like the artwork though. Level 6 improved. It does feel like something that you should have on a one of the shirts, the black shirts. It was either orange or blue from like 20 years ago, showing my age a little, that I would have worn as a teenager because I was not cool. I'm not cool now. Nothing's changed really. I wear plainer clothes because I got covered in tattoos. I've gone so far astray here. Level 6 is improved mantle. When the mantle of wolf surrounds your body, you gain the following benefits. Bite attacks you make with a spectral wolf deal double damage to objects and structures. You get dark vision out to 60 feet, or if you already had it, it goes up by 30, and your speed increases by 10 feet. You do not get an extra attack, which is odd, but hey. Level 10, you get defend the pack. Whenever a creature attacks an ally within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to spend a use of your wild shape to conjure a giant phantom wolf to maul the creature. There's no attack roll required, and the creature is not entitled to a saving throw. The target takes 48 force damage and has the prone condition, and at 14th level the damage goes up to 68. That's not bad. The issue is that you don't get that many wild shapes, and while you can restore them, it's not bad. I think it's better than the other features, to be fair, which is good. At level 14, your final feature, once per day when you take the magic action to take on your Mantle of Wolf, you can also summon a Fenris, which is a large monstrosity. You can telepathically order it to follow your commands, no action required. The Fenris is loyal to you and your allies. It lasts for as long as your Mantle of the Wolf lasts, until you dismiss it, until it's destroyed. You travel to another plane, you're killed, you have the unconscious condition, or it's more than 120 feet from you. That's a long list of terms and conditions. What does the Fenris do? I like the art here, look, that's cool. It's 127 hit points, not bad. It has a chain, which can be severed. If the chain is destroyed, it takes psychic damage and is stunned, and it loses its chain attack. Oh, this is the wolf from Night Rain. Cool. The Fenris makes one bite attack and one chain attack. If its mystical chain has been broken, it can only make 2 bite attacks. The bite is 2d8 plus 5, which isn't terrible. The chain is 2d6 plus 5 and can grapple stuff, which isn't bad. And it also has a whirling chain, which recharges on a 6, which does damage to everything within 20 feet of it. So, not bad. And it has a reaction too. Yeah, solid little stat block to have for free. Don't hate it. This subclass is weird. The subclass is really weird. I like the level 10 feature, and I like the level 14 feature. I don't like the level 6 or the level 3 feature, ultimately. And the spells are fine. They're just sort of fine. It's super weird. It feels like, again, I'm repeating myself. This feels like one where you should be getting extra attack and you don't, which is just a bit odd to me. But, yeah. On to the fighter, the Viking. I love a fighter subclass. Vikings are battle-hardened warriors and sailors who ply the seas of Northlands for glory and plunder. As followers of the Reaver's Way, they have their own sense of honour, yet they can be merciless in times of raiding and war. Vikings are known for their prowess with their spear and axe, and for the belief that they can earn a special place in the halls of the dead through their deeds in valor and battle. I heard a cat. Level 3, you get Seaborn. You're used to being aboard rocking ships and other vehicles. You have an advantage on all strength and dex saves and checks to avoid being pushed or have the prone condition or otherwise being moved against your will. In addition, you have advantage on checks to pilot or otherwise control waterborne vehicles. You get Viking Weapon Mastery. If you have Weapon Mastery with a battle axe, longsword or spear, once on each of your turns, you can add your proficiency bonus to a damage roll of that weapon. It's a nice little boost. It's not going to be much, an extra 6 damage by the time you get to level 17. Is it 17 or is it 6? It was 18. It might be 18. But it isn't bad, but it's there. At level 7, you get Savage Charge. As an attack action, you move up to half your speed. No, move up to your speed and make a single melee attack. If this attack hits, you can use a bonus action to take the dash action. With the movement from this dash action, you can pass through the space of the target and do not provoke opportunity attacks. That's super cool. So you can move, take the attack action, do the Savage Charge, hit him a couple times, then take the dash action to continue running, right? That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Level 10 is Call of the Northlands. At the end of a long rest, you can choose one of the benefits. You get one of these at a time. You can get swim speed, equal to your speed, advantage on attack rolls against dragons, resistance to cold damage, or advantage on attack rolls against giants. Niche, but obviously very fitting and thematic for the setting. Level 15, you get Marauder's Reprisal. When you become bloodied, or if a creature scores a critical hit against you, you can use your reaction to make an attack against an enemy within reach, if there is one. If the attack hits, you score a crit hit, you crit automatically, that's cool, and gain a number of temp health equal to half your level. That's something. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and gain all uses once you've finished a long rest. That's pretty tasty. I like that. And level 18, Unstoppable Assault. As an action, you spin your weapon in a furious arc, decimating all creatures before you. You can attack a number of times. You can attack a number of times equal to half your proficiency bonus, 3, in addition to your normal attacks, which is also 3 at this level. So that's 6 attacks. If any of these attacks hit, the bonus ones. They are a critical hit, and each creature struck by the attack must succeed in a strength save or be pushed 10 feet away from you. Wow! That means you can make 7 attacks with just your attack action at level 20, assuming you're not doing two-handed shenanigans, which you obviously can do. In my case, it would be 8, and you can only do this once per long rest, but that's still a lot of attacks. That's a pretty cool capstone. I don't dislike it. It's a shame it's only once per long rest, but that's also a lot of hits, right? It doesn't have to be against multiple creatures. You can just lay into one creature, and it doesn't have to be with multiple weapons either. You can just use you could use a great axe for this, right? If you're using great weapon fighting or something, and that's a lot of damage. So Seaborn is setting specific, but cool. Viking Weapon Mastery is a nice little boost. It's not much, but it's something. Savage Charge is super cool. It's a lot of movement speed. Call the Northlands requires you to be knowing what you're doing, but that's not impossible. Auto crits in level 15 is obviously good, and you get 10 health as well. And then a bunch of auto crits at level 18. If you're using a Flame Tongue or something, you're going to be doing an ungodly amount of damage with 3 potential crits if you can give yourself advantage, which you usually can because it's high level D&D. I like that a fair bit. The Oath of Valhalla Paladin. Paladins who take the Oath of Valhalla ensure they preserve the spirits of those who've died honourably in battle, even their foes. Of course, these paladins also strive to prove themselves deserving of entry into Valhalla through their own deeds and words. The thunderous revelry of the heroic dead echoing from the God's Mead Hall in Asgard fills these paladins, imbuing them with the might of deceased champions. These paladins look askance at those who restore heroes to life, but they assume such heroes have agreed to return from Valhalla to continue fighting as mortals. However, they offer no quarter to blasphemers who animate corpses into a mockery of life. They protect them. Yeah, I mean, being anti-undead isn't an especially novel concept, but I kind of like the resurrection clause in there. They assume that they've agreed to return from Valhalla to continue to fight. It's a nice little bit of flavour. Level 3, you get Encouraging Smite. Immediately after you cast your Divine Smite, you can expend 1 use of your Channel Divinity and select creatures of your choice, no limit of the number, within 30 feet of yourself. Until the start of your next turn, these creatures have advantage on their attack rolls and saving throws against the target of your Divine Smite, and their attacks deal an extra 1d4 thunder damage. While this is only 1 turn, this is going to scale up really, really well, especially if there are pets and things like that going on. That's really cool. Also at level 3, you get Guardian of the Dead. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of Channel Divinity to better protect the dead under your watch. For 1 hour, whenever you are in 10 feet of a creature reduced to 0 hit points, you have advantage on your attack rolls and saving throws against spells that inflict the charmed or frightened condition. That's incredibly niche. After you gain the Aura of Courage class feature, you have immunity to the charmed condition when using this feature. During this 1 hour period, when a creature you see casts a spell to create undead or restore a creature to life, you can take a reaction to move up to half your speed and attack the creature that cast the spell. That's pretty cool. It's not that strong, but I think Encouraging Smite is pretty strong, so it balances out. Spells, you get Heroism and Searing Smite, Gentle Repose and Shining Smite, Beacon of Hope and Glyph of Warding, the Thunder variant, of Purity, Guardian of Faith, Flame Strike and Hallow, very fitting. Level 7, you get Thunderous Aura. You and your allies have immunity to thunder damage while in your Aura of Protection. That's pretty cool. You can drop a shatter. You can have someone shattering where you are constantly, which is not the best use of that, but it is fun. Also, when you cast Find Steed, you can choose your Faithful Steed's attacks to deal thunder damage instead of its typical damage. It's kind of level 15, Valorous Soul. When you reduce a foe to 0 hit points with a melee attack, you can choose any number of allies within 60 feet of you. For 1 minute, these allies have advantage on their attack rolls and strength saving throws. That's awesome. Should you die, your body is treated as though the Gentle Repose has been cast in it, and you can refuse to come back to life if you're resurrected. Can't you do that anyway? I feel like you can do that anyway. At level 20, we get Spirit of the Valkyrie. As a bonus action, you get your special form. You know how paladins work. For 10 minutes, you gain a fly speed of 60 feet. You get advantage on saving throws against spells or other magical effects. A creature within your aura that tries to make undead or summon undead must make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, they don't get to do that. And when you cast a spell with Smite in its name, you can expend any level of spell slot, but cast it as though you've used a 5th level spell slot. That's sick. Additionally, when an enemy starts its turn in your Aura of Protection, it takes thunder damage equal to your Charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus, and it must make a con save against your spell save DC. On a failed save, it has the stun condition until your next turn. That is one heck of a capstone. That's got a lot going on. That gives you a lot more 5th level spell slots, basically, which is wild. And you don't need to have them, which means you can, because you can, if you want to, get another use of this by expending a 5th level spell slot. You can just spam smite, basically, which is wild. Very, very cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that might actually be my favourite of the bunch so far. Although the barbarian was also very good. Next we have the Spirit Caller Sorcerer. You are born with a strong otherworldly connection to the spirits of your ancestors and to the honoured dead. You can call on these spirits to aid you and your allies and to hinder your enemies. Symbols are important in the culture of the Northlands, and the spirits are no exception. Rather than manifesting as the people they were in life, the spirits take on a symbolic appearance, usually as ghostly animals that speak as their formal selves. In the Northlands, these reflect those found in that region, though it's possible that other animals might be represented as well. You can choose the animal form that your spirits take or roll on the spirit animal form table. Many spirit callers believe that when they wield magic, they are directly assisted by their ancestral spirits. The mage armor might be the spirit of a dead blacksmith. The magic missile may be the spirit of your clan's greatest archer. That's a cool concept. One of my players would have loved this. Level 3 Spirit Caller spells. You get Bane, Bless, Heroism, Protection from Evil and Good, Healing Spirit, Speak with the Dead, Spirit Guardians, Aura of Life, and Death Ward. We really know what we're doing here, don't we? You also get Occult Expertise at level 3. You gain proficiency in Arcana Religion if you don't have it, and you can use your Charisma modifier instead of your Intelligence modifier for these. That's fun. And level 3 again, Spirit Guidance. You call on ancestral and cultural spirits to help guide you. As a bonus action, you can give yourself advantage on a skill check. You can do this a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier and regain all uses on a long rest. That's a nice little ribbon feature. Actually, both of those are all ribbon features. That's all ribbon feature. That's just ribbon features all the way down. That's weird. I mean, sorcerers are pretty strong. It's probably fine. Level 6, you get Spirit Aura. You can use a bonus action to call on spirits to surround you or an ally. This takes the form of a spirit aura that extends from 10 feet from you or a willing ally of your choice in all directions and lasts for 1 minute, until you have the incapacitated condition or until you use a bonus action to dismiss it. Choose one of the following options when you use this feature. You basically get a buff and you can make enemy creatures that enter the aura or start their turn there. They have to succeed in a wisdom saving throw or get disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls until the end of its next turn, which is quite strong. Or you can give allies advantage until the end of its next turn, which is also quite good. You get 2 uses of this feature unless you use 3 sorcery points. So it's a very, very solid feature, especially if you've got other ranged characters, because you don't really want to be in melee with a sorcerer, generally speaking. At level 14, you get Spiritual Secrets. The spirits know secrets collected from their time in the realms of the dead. These secrets might include a creature's weaknesses, a person's dreams, or the properties of a magic item. You can call on the spirits to share the secrets with you. When you make an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and the roll fails, you can re-roll it. You can do this a number of times equal to Charisma modifier, and you gain all uses on a long rest, or you can spend 3 sorcery points. This is sort of like free heroic inspiration, which isn't bad. I like it. And then level 18, Spiritual Storm. Your spirit aura is now 15 feet instead of 10, and any enemy that enters your aura or starts their turn there takes 2d8 psychic damage, though no more than once per turn. That's not bad. The level 18 feature is a little underwhelming, to be honest. 2d8 is 9 damage on average, which at level 18 is like a burp in the wind, truly. I really like the level 6 feature. I quite like the spell list. It's not like amazing, but it's really on theme. It's not bad. And then our final one is the Warlock Trickster. From the halls of the Fae to the antics of Loki, there are entities who embody the primal nature of chaos. Your pact draws upon one of these powers, perhaps a creature with an aspect of whimsy or a deity relishing in tricks and ploys. Your patron asks you to sow chaos and delight in mischief. If you squint, you can also make sense of the method behind their seeming madness. Okay, level 3, you get Context Switch. Lots of words. Basically, you get a reaction you can use a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier per long rest, where you can swap with another creature. If the creature is unwilling, it has to make a wisdom save, or it fails. If you do swap with someone, that creature becomes the target of the attack. Have to be within 5 feet of you, and if the target that you swapped with was an enemy, then it has disadvantage on attack rolls until the start of your next turn. It's a pretty tasty feature. Your spells, you get Detect Thoughts, Disguise Self, Enlarge Reduce, Magic Mouth, and Silent Image. Non-detection and slow, compulsion and confusion, and animate objects and modify memory. Also at level 3, you get Nimble Trickery. You gain proficiency in Sleight of Hand if you don't already have it. When you make a Dex Sleight of Hand check to swap an item with another item that has similar dimensions, you have advantage on the check. At 6th level, you can swap from 30 feet away, and at 14th level, you can replace the target object with an illusion instead, which lasts for a minute. Not bad. Level 6, you get Distance Switch. You can context switch with up to 30 feet instead of within 5 feet. If you don't do the 30 feet though, the creature trying to avoid the switch has disadvantage on its save, which is cool. And if the target does fail the save, irrelevant of the distance, you can become invisible until the end of your next turn, or until immediately after you make an attack roll, deal damage or cast a spell, whichever comes first. I like that a lot. Level 10 is Painful Unreality. You automatically succeed on investigation checks when you take the study action to determine if something is illusory. In addition, when a creature interacts with an illusion spell you cast and fails to determine that it is illusory, you can force it to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, this creature interacting with the illusion takes 4d10 psychic damage and has the stunned condition until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, it takes half as much only. So you really want to be doing a lot of illusions with this subclass, which is kind of fun. I like it. Level 14 is Harbinger of Chaos. As a bonus action, you can announce changes to the reality of your surroundings. Each enemy that can see or hear you must make an intelligence saving throw against your spell save DC. An enemy that fails at save believes the changes you announced to be true. It has disadvantage on all d20 checks until the end of its next turn, and you and your allies have advantage on all attack rolls and d20 checks you make against it. So any of the creatures that failed to save, basically. You can do this once per short rest. There's no distance to that feature. It's just any enemy that can see or hear you has to make an intelligence saving throw. So you can probably hit the whole battlefield with this, and giving them all disadvantage and you all advantage for a turn is really cool. Although there are a bunch of things which do some similar things in this book, which is a little odd. But overall, I think that's a pretty solid warlock subclass. So, good job. That is it for the subclasses though. So let's have a look at the species options. We're getting 5 new species, we're getting variants for dwarves and elves, and a bunch of these have subspecies options as well. I'm not going to go over all the lore. You can read it if you buy it. That's how this works. But basically, we've got bearfolk, medium, big old lads, base speed of 30. When you make a charisma check, you can add your strength or con modifier to your charisma check. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all uses in a long rest. And depending on your lineage, you gain a different benefit depending on your choice. The Andari get a cantrip from the druid spell list, which with a wisdom spellcasting, which is easy access to Shillelagh. Oh, but it has to be wisdom. So you're probably getting Shillelagh anyway. That's a shame. That doesn't work. And then Garhammer. Bear Hug, when you hit a target with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, which you can do a number of times equal to your con mod, and regain all uses on a long rest, which is fine. I think the Andari is probably stronger there, but that's alright. You also get, you and allied creatures within 5 feet of you have advantage on saving throws against the frightened conditions while you're conscious, and you get resistance to cold damage and immunity to the effects of extreme cold. There are so many things now that give advantage on frightened and charmed that it makes me wonder if I'm playing the game wrong as a DM, because I feel like none of my players are ever being frightened or charmed. There's also beastkin. These can be medium or small, 30 feet. Proficiency in either perception or survival. You get natural weapons, which do 1d6 plus your strength or dex mod. You can choose what they look like. And then you can either be avian, so you get a fly speed, but you can't do that while you're wearing medium or heavy armor. Agile, which means that you have a climb speed, which is always nice, and advantage on saving throws to avoid the prone condition. Aquatic, you can swim and breathe real well. And sturdy, you get an AC of 13 plus your dex mod. And you count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity. That's not bad. Right, and then we have giantkin. We've got hill, stone, or storm. These are medium, although the height varies. It's weird that they're not just large. Right, they're giantkin. But 30 feet, you get catch and throw. When you're hit by a ranged weapon attack, you can use your reaction to add 3 to your AC. You can just do that all the time. You can catch the missile and throw it back at the attacker using your normal ranged weapon attack bonus and the weapon's normal damage. That's super fun. So you can like fire it back, basically. That's cool. You get ancestry benefits and spells. We'll go into that in a minute. Wait, how is it hill and storm here? And then there's cloud, fire, frost, hill, stone, storm. Right, so it's in addition to other ones. That's just a lot. Powerful build, you have advantage on saving throws to make or in the grapple condition. This has a lot of words. Good gravy. Is there anything after that? No. Okay. So cloud, immunity to extreme cold and high altitude. You get featherfall at will, but only on yourself. And as a bonus action, you can move some wind. Fire is immunity to the effects of extreme heat. As a reaction, when you take piercing or slashing damage, you can deal fire damage to something. Not bad. Frost, immunity to extreme cold and advantage on saves against a stun condition. You can move and reshape ice, water, or snow, which is cool, I guess. And you can see through areas obscured by snowfall, sleet, and other wintry precipitation. Without penalty, you also have immunity to snow blindness. Hill, advantage on poisoned and stun condition. You also get advantage against grapples, and if you succeed, you can push the creature that was trying to grapple you for 10 feet. You can also eat anything. Always nice to be able to eat anything. Stone, advantage on prone and petrified. You also get advantage on initiative rolls if you and all your foes are touching solid ground. That's cool. And also dark vision. And then storm, advantage on saves against lightning damage and immunity to the effects of high altitude. You can also levitate at will and can see through areas obscured by clouds, fog, rain, and storms without penalty. That's cool. It's interesting. We love variety. Trollkin. Trollkin are humanoid, medium, 30 feet, dark vision of 120 feet. That's nice. A natural adaptation.
There's another ancestry thing.
Natural weapon, 1d6 plus strength or dex. Trollish regeneration. As a bonus action, you can spend any number of hit dice up to your proficiency bonus to regain hit points. If you take acid or fire damage, you can't do this again until you finish a long rest. That's actually pretty cool. I like that a lot. If you're a Fey Trollkin, when you make an ability check that uses charisma, you can add a d6 to add it to the total. You get a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Ogres get advantage on ability checks to avoid escape grapples, and also count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity. Does your carrying capacity dictate your grappling range? Do you know? I feel like I should know. I don't know, but here we are. Against the stun condition, and count as one size larger. I feel like the Fey one is the best one there. Hey, yeah, they're cool. And then Werekin is the last original one, and then we're getting into the variants of dwarves and elves, because we don't have enough of those. Werekin, medium, 30 feet, dark vision of 60, you got some claws, 1d6 plus strength, okay, that's fine. Proficiency in athletics, intimidation, perception, or survival. You have advantage on perception checks when you're smelling and tracking stuff. And as a bonus action, you can shift. You transform for a minute. Once you transform, you can't do again until a long rest. Once you transformed, you gain one of the following options. You can choose each time you transform. That's pretty cool. You gain temp health equal to twice your proficiency bonus and get advantage on strength checks to save or resist the grapple condition. A lot of grappling going on. It's just a WWE book, I guess. Primal Savagery. As a bonus action on each of your turns, you can roar. Creatures other than your allies within 10 feet of you have to make a charisma save or become frightened. And Swift Hunter. Until the transformation ends, your speed is increased by 10 feet. And you get advantage on athletics and survival checks. It's not bad. Dwarves. You get dwarvy stuff, but the Bargsmidir dwarf, you get resistance to poison damage, dark vision of 120 feet, advantage on arcana checks, advantage on checks to make magical items, and you can sense magic within 120 feet of you until the end of the turn, and also detect the presence of otherworldly creatures. That's pretty cool. The Fjord dwarf, dark vision of 90 feet, that's weird. I feel like it's either 60 or 120 normally. But hey, hit point maximum increased by 1 and increases by 1 again every time you gain a level. Imagine if it was just increased by 1. That'd be very silly. You don't take penalties to attack rolls while balancing or climbing, and you have a swim speed and can hold your breath for twice as long as normal. And then elves, you've got alpha elves, hidden elves or ice elves. Dark vision of 60 feet. You get buffs. Yeah, as elvens, we love elves. Advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the charm condition. Proficiency in insight, perception, and survival. You get to choose 2 of those, which is pretty tasty. You don't need to sleep. Trance. So the hidden elf gets minor illusion initially and advantage on stealth checks in forests, as well as silent image at level 3 and blur at level 5, both of which are pretty solid. And then ice elves get ray of frost, as well as advantage on stealth checks in icy or snowy conditions, along with ice knife at level 3 and gust of wind at level 5. The alpha spells are better, I would say, but the ice elf ones are more damaging. So swings and roundabouts. There's also stuff about character threads, which are like story elements that the game suggests you weave into your character, which are super cool, but I'm not going over those. As well as some background feats. Some backgrounds and a bunch of feats. I will go over the feats in a video on Friday, I guess. That's 3 videos in 3 days. Friday or Saturday, either way. Keep an eye out for that. But that is it for this video. Goodness, that was a lot of stuff, wasn't it? I think overall, you're getting a lot of stuff with this book. There's a bunch of spells which I've yet to go through properly, and I'm looking forward to doing so. And some of the feats are really, really cool as well, so I'm looking forward to sharing that video with you. I think overall, the power level here is relatively balanced, and nothing stood out to me as being completely broken. There were a few that I would even argue were kind of underpowered, and which is fine. Not everything has to be completely busted. It's solid, and it's full of flavor, which is always good. Also, you can be a bear, so you got that going for you. As I said at the beginning, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Thank you once again to my wonderful channel members. You make it much easier to afford doing all of this, and I will see you tomorrow, but with a wizard build, and then either Friday or Saturday with a feat breakdown. So yeah, look forward to that. I hope that you're well and continue to do well, and I hope that you take care and are kind to the people around you. My son's being a bit of a demon at the moment, as much as I love him, which is making me want to reinforce the importance of kindness to those around us. But yes, that's it. Do take care. I'll see you whenever I next see you. Goodbye.